Okay, so this is a tutorial video on the bellows breath. This is going to be an overview, and then the next video will be a guided session doing 2 rounds of this technique. So, the bellows breath, what is it? I've got a couple notes here I'm going to reference. It's a breathing exercise in yoga that helps increase prana or life force in your being. So it's used to energize the body and clarify the mind. If you feel hazy or you're moving in slow motion, this is a great technique to clear the clouds. So this technique I like to recommend in the morning because it's an energizing, stimulating technique. We're going to simply be breathing in and out of the nose with an even ratio on the inhale to the exhale. And then we're not going to be spending any time in between the breaths, no pausing between the inhale and the exhale and the exhale and the inhale. So the ratio of 1 to 1 on the inhale to the exhale is the important piece to factor here. And the major considerations with this practice, it's stimulating and energizing, so don't practice it before bedtime. It's likely going to give you an energy boost. Make sure to listen to your body during this practice. It is absolutely a safe practice, but if you feel lightheaded in any way, take a pause for a few moments while breathing naturally. When the discomfort passes, try another round slower and with less intensity. So that's just a disclaimer here. It's not about getting to the destination and getting really high from these breathing techniques, even though they do biochemically make changes that you will feel and experience in your day, the feelings of well-being, alertness, focusedness, creativity, and so on. The point isn't to get as extreme of a result as you can out of these practices. The point is to build this skill and factor it in as an intentional habit that you practice every single day. And over time, just like any other fundamental skill, you will reap many other benefits outside of just the breath technique itself if you respect the technique and progress appropriately through intentional and consistent application, aka daily use. Apply this 5-minute practice, 6-minute practice into your day consistently for the next 30 to 90 days and take notes on what happens. Sitting tall, breathing up and down slowly until we start going faster, then breathe from the center forcefully in and out through the nose for the entirety of the technique. Make sure you keep your head, your neck, and your shoulders still while you're breathing from the torso. You don't want to get overly involved with this stuff. You can move from your center point and create some of that nice extension and flexion in the spine without getting everything else involved. Keep your head more on a stable axis while you're moving your spine. A little bit of rib cage, a little bit of pelvis, a little bit of skull is okay, but try to keep the skull and the pelvis more stable and allow the movement to happen as just a natural maximum inhalation and exhalation. It's just encouraging that rather than thinking about it like I'm really trying to work my spine right now. Just allow the spine to move with the breath to maximize that cycle of inhalation and exhalation. We're going to do it just like this. I'm going to read it right to you. We're going to do 2 breath cycles, inhaling for 4 seconds and exhaling for 4 seconds. And then we're going to do 2 breath cycles, inhaling 3, exhaling 3. Then we're going to do 5 cycles, inhaling 2, exhaling 2, 10 cycles, inhaling 1, exhaling 1, 5 cycles, inhaling 2, exhaling 2, 2 cycles, inhaling 3, exhaling 3, 2 cycles, inhaling 4, exhaling 4. So we're going to just ride a bell curve all the way through. We're going to finish exactly how we start. We're going to build it up 2 deep, big, slow breaths, 2 a little bit faster, then 5 is our 2-2 ratio. That's a pretty steady ratio for this technique for most people that are beginning it for the first time to really feel the stimulatory, energizing effects of this technique. After the 5 of the 2-2, then we'll do 10 breaths at 1-1, which is inhaling 1 second, exhaling 1 second, thinking just like an accordion, expanding on the inhale and crunching on the exhale. We're going to just come back down that same fashion, doing 5 breaths, 2 in, 2 out, 2 breaths, 3 in, 3 out, 2 breaths, 4 in, 4 out. And at the end, at the last 4-4 exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1, we're going to hold the breath at the end of that exhale for 10 seconds. Then, after that 10 seconds, we're going to slowly inhale for 10 seconds. Then we're going to hold that inhale at the top for 10 seconds and then exhale slowly for another 10 seconds. So one super slow motion breath cycle at the end here. Then, after those holds, we'll just go into 2 rounds of 4-part breath. In 4, hold 2, out 4, hold 2. That's going to take us to an even 3 minutes for 1 round. And then we're going to do 2 rounds of these. All you're going to do is just follow my voice as I count the tempo for you during the entire breathing technique on the actual guided follow along video. You can perform this technique exactly as the video is, which is what I would recommend starting with as a nice, easy way to experience that peak and come back down to a grounded state as you then go into your breath hold. So that way you don't get too lightheaded or have, too stressful or stimulating of an experience early on. Take it slow. But as you develop this technique, you may very well, at a certain point, long time down the road, just thinking big picture progression, be able to do a 2-2 count or a 1-1 count for the entire 2 minutes of breathing. I would not recommend starting there at all. That's like trying to go into the gym and squat 405 when you've never actually done a barbell squat before. You don't start there. You start with body weight, then you grab a dumbbell, then you do split squats, then you add the barbell, then you start building up over time to that progressed skill, that heavier weight. So same thing with these techniques. You don't want to try to blast off too far too fast. Just build up progressively and naturally. I'd rather have you be able to be calm and grounded after 2 rounds and focused and clear rather than high and scattered and overstimulated. Okay, so use the benefit of the technique to energize you and stimulate you and bring you into clarity and focus. And then over time, develop the technique as you progress to increase the amount of frequency and intensity as you increase the breath count. So just the quick basics of this technique for you to manually adjust it on your own. The faster the breath, the more intense the technique. So if you're in the beginning feeling a little lightheaded as I cue you through this, just drop back to the previous breath count. So if we're doing a 4-4 to start, and then a 3-3, and then a 2-2, and then a 1-1, say we get to the 2-2 and you start feeling lightheaded already, and we're about to go into the 1-1, just back off and do 3 in, 3 out, 3 in, 3 out, 3 in, 3 out. Maybe even back off to 4 in, 4 out, 4 in, 4 out. Really coast it, slow it down by decreasing the frequency, the speed, the repetition, the breath cycle itself. Slow it down to 4 in, 4 out instead of 2 in, 2 out, and you'll be able to kind of bring your feet back down onto ground and kind of come back into your awareness. And until you feel safe, then you can start to progress the technique again. If we're still going, then you can maybe try dropping back down to a 3-3 and then into a 2-2 and just regulating yourself. As you go, as you progress, like I said, you may start with a 4-4 for a couple rounds, 3-3 for a couple rounds, and then go right into a 1-1 for, a full minute or something like that, and then bring yourself down with a couple reps at the end. It's totally up to you as you play with this. Just know that the faster you go, and thus requiring you to breathe more air in through a shorter period of time, is going to increase the intensity of the technique. And by slowing the breath cycle down, breathing slower in and out, increasing your exhale and your inhale, you start to pump the brakes on the technique. So you can adjust it yourself based on how you're feeling. I'll just guide you through 2 rounds exactly as stated. We're going to do 2 breaths, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4. 2 breaths, inhaling for 3, exhaling for 3. 5 breaths, inhaling for 2, exhaling for 2. 10 breaths, inhaling for 1, exhaling for 1. 5 breaths, inhaling for 2, exhaling for 2. 2 breaths, inhaling for 3, exhaling for 3. 2 breaths, inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4. At the end of that last exhale, we're going to hold for 10 seconds at the bottom with our lungs empty. And then we're going to slowly inhale for 10 seconds until our lungs are fully, fully full up at the top of the head. We hold for another 10 seconds with our lungs full after that big inhale. And then we slowly exhale for 10 seconds to finish that breath cycle. Then we just will fall into our own natural 4-2-4-2 or 6-3-6-3 or 8-4-8-4 breath cycle for the next 30 seconds, which I'll just cue through a couple 4-2-4-2 cycles for everybody together, but go at your own pace. Once we've gone through that 3-minute cycle of breathing for 2 minutes, holding for 30 seconds, relaxing for 30 seconds, then we start the next round. Same exact thing. Go into the bellows breath technique, then the 4 holds at the end, and then return to a couple rounds of the 4-part breath. After the breathing meditation technique is complete, feel free then to proceed with either your movement practice or your meditation practice. And if you have any questions about the technique, put them in the comments section to this video, take notes in your training app, or message me in the messenger, and I will be happy to help.